I mean, quick side note about the Grammys. Do you think it has any relevance today? Not relevance, but do you think it's as valuable these days? Because I feel that Grammy is just everybody, not everybody, but so many random people just win it, and it's usually a team or like a army of songwriters who get one. Whilst in the past it was not harder to win one, but there was usually one person who won it or a band or whatever.
Yeah,
What
I
what are
mean,
your thoughts on that?
I'm honestly, personally, I'm in very much in support of it.
Right.
I love big teams. Like my main thing is I always have for every song that I do, like I have a team on it. Even if I'm just doing a mix for somebody, like it's
Mm.
usually there's at least three of us involved.
Hmm.
Um, so for that, like that doesn't seem weird to me. If anything, it's actually encouraging that there's more collaboration and there's more input and teamwork into crafting something
Right.
really really to a very high standard. So to me, like having a Beyonce song with 11 songwriters or something like that doesn't bother me
Right. That's
at all.
interesting.
I think when it comes to people trying to I'm trying to phrase this in a politically correct way.
Sure.
People that will get a Grammy and then, like I was using that in that kind of hypothetical example of someone that got the Grammy and just thought all the work would come to them. When there's someone that gets a Grammy and then all of a sudden they're just better than you, and their attitude changes,
Right. Right.
that's when I think it's a problem. But I don't feel like it's the Grammy. I don't think it's the Grammy's fault. I think it's the
Right.
people that
Right.
win them and their own mental attitude.
Mm.
That's the problem, and it's easy to blame the award for that happening. But if it was a person, it's not like the Grammy all of a sudden like rewires your brain
Right.
into
Right.
being
Right.
a dick.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
To my knowledge, I don't know. I'm sure there's a conspiracy theory about that too, though.
Probably. No, it's interesting hearing your thoughts on that because yeah, we're very different opinions there. Because the Grammy, because when there is a team like the example of Beyonce, 11 writers, then I feel that the value of winning a Grammy is less, if that makes sense. Because if I yeah, I think that's how I feel about it. Does that make sense? You don't
Yes,
have
but
to agree though.
I would say this. I would say it again. I would say it's not the Grammy itself. It's how those people, how those again out of the 11 people, the
Mm,
if you prioritize them and like how much they actually did on it, when it's the 11th person that did the least
right,
that tries to use the Grammy
right,
as a way to get clients or often like to I don't say scam people, but like you pretending that it actually that they had more involvement than they did.
mm,
So I can see an argument like that. Well, but I think again that's more people misusing their resume or
mm,
maybe misrepresenting themselves
right,
because the general public will see Grammy on the
mm.
portfolio and assume that they did all the work, even if they were just a small piece of it.
Yeah, I think that's very true because I think that's also where a lot of my feelings comes from. Is like you go to a random let's say engineers or songwriters website, and it says Grammy winner, and then you realize down the road that they added a tambourine. Not that
Hmm.
that tambourine was anything bad or it was needed. But that's sort of where I was like, oh, you expect something else maybe. Then it's only. I'm not saying only because it's
Yeah,
not easy to get in that position to
yeah,
work on a song like that. But you know what I mean?
yeah. No, I do, and again, my thought is just that it depends on
The person.
it's the person and how they do it. Like I have like so when I have my sound better page, for example, and you have to list like the credits
Mm-hmm.
that you have. Like there's a couple credits that I have that I are probably two of the bigger artists I've ever worked with, but I don't even put it on there because I had such a small role in it.
Right.
Like I did a vocal recording session with. Are you familiar with Little Mix?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think one of my
Okay,
friends worked with them live. I think, if that's the
Oh,
same
okay,
band.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like, huge pop group.
Hmm.
And they were in town because so it's super weird. I'm in the middle of like Amish country in Pennsylvania. And then about 15 minutes north of here, there's this place called Rocklitz, and it's like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, like touring and staging like facility
Right.
in the, at least in the U.S., if not, you know, North America. So like Katy Perry will come here to do world tour rehearsals, and like Ariana
Right.
Grande, and like all these
Right.
people. I think BTS was here a couple months, maybe like in the last year. So like they do all the design and they build all like the huge stages that they tour with. Like they build the stages, do all of that, or the cables, they prep, plan everything, and then they'll come there and do the like dress rehearsals. So I forget exactly the reason. I think they were there because they were currently doing the Ariana Grande Dangerous Woman tour. They were
Right.
opening for that, and we got a call. One of the studios downtown got a call from somebody on their team saying that they needed to come in and record some vocals for a song. And coincidentally, the people that run the studio, they mostly do live sound.
Hmm.
So they were out doing like a high school musical or something. So they called me to come in and do the session. And it was it was for the song, I think it's called Touch. But what they had to do was they had to make a new version specifically for Radio Disney because the single was like, do you have like a movie film ratings in the UK, like similar to the US, like PG, R?
Yeah, I think that's worldwide,
Okay,
right? Yeah.
I thought so, but I didn't want to assume.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so basically, like the radio single was PG and it needed to be G
Right.
for
Right.
Radio Disney. So three out of the four of them came in, and it was literally like redoing like a single line
Right.
in a verse, like little things. And we had a Skype call with their A&R person over in like Sweden,
Hmm.
and they were in and out in like an hour and 10 minutes. And all I did was literally like set up a microphone, and my friends Tom and I like just kind of hit record, and when we were done, sent the files over. Like we did nothing
Right.
really, other than just like we were there in the room and we were the monkeys setting stuff up and hitting the little red circle.
Right. 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 But that's funny
And then
because in that case, I think I would put credit a Little Mix, for example, if I was you. Because I mean, you did all the work you would have done if it was. It doesn't matter how long the recording was, I guess.
but see, this is where I'd fight you on it, and I would say like that, I feel like that would misrepresent my involvement. Like,
Right.
yes, I recorded them, but I would like I had no creative input at all. Like,
Right. Right.
set up the microphone, hit the button, sent the files. Like I was so, or at least I would say if I was trying to build up my resume and kind of present myself as a vocal tracking engineer, then maybe. But like if I'm telling people that I'm a mix engineer and a producer, and then I have that
Hmm.
on my list, that feels not right. It's a fun
Right.
story,
Right. Right.
it's a
Right.
real story. Like I helped engineer some guitars for the first Baby Metal record,
Right.
which is also like super weird and fun, but I did so little on it, and it was for like a second, like a B-side version that was only released in a certain place. And yes, I had that experience. It's a fun like conversation starter, but I don't feel like I've had enough. I didn't have enough like, creative input in either the Baby Metal project or the Little Mix project to want to use it as a selling point, because
Right.
I don't want to present myself as something and then have somebody be like, "Oh my god, I love Little Mix. I'd love to work with this person." And they talk to me about it, and then I kind of tell them like the truth about what happened, and then they're like, "Oh, that's a letdown."
Right. Right.
I don't want to oversell myself. So I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong to do so, but I think for me, I feel a little bit weird having it more than just like a fun icebreaker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's that's my feelings against the Grammy Award winning person saying the same. It's just the opposite. But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, yeah, or like if it's Grammy Award winner, and then it's like, oh, for best children's book on tape or something.
That'd be
Um,
cool.
yeah, yeah, no, yes, which but like if you're but it's like it comes down to what you're using that
Yeah, yeah.
part of your resume to try to achieve.
Right.
If you're using that to get deeper into like children's books and more
Sure.
into like audiobooks, then absolutely that's perfect. That's totally that's like the exact right thing.
Hmm.
But I'm if I'm saying like I'm a mix engineer and a producer, but I'm a Grammy winner because the Grammy that I won is actually I was an assistant to a graphic designer that did the album artwork for something totally different.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
okay, if I did have that Grammy, it has nothing to do with what I'm trying to tell people that I do,
Hmm.
and that's where I feel like the
Right,
misrepresentation
right.
becomes an issue.
Makes sense. And I have to say I agree with that point.